Mexican Marigold, Tagetes Erecta. This is what Mexican marigold seeds look like. Sow marigold seeds directly into your planter pot. After that, don't forget to give a very light sprinkle of water. Seeds start to germinate. More marigold seeds start to germinate. This is what Mexican marigold cotyledons look like. It seemed grasshopper eat my Mexican marigold. To control grasshoppers in your garden, you can try using garlic spray or neem oil. Raising the chickens also can get rid of grasshopper and grasshopper larvae. From my experience, Mexican marigold seed usually germinate between day 3 to day 7. Success germination rate depend on seed's quality, seed age, moisture, light and temperature. Please keep soil moist until seeds germinate. Under normal conditions, Mexican marigold true leaves start to emerge in day 6. When you propagate Mexican marigold by seeds, it is common to have some seeds fail to germinate. For me, on average Mexican marigold seed viability are about 12 months. For me, optimal temperature for Mexican marigold germination is 70 degrees Fahrenheit 21 degrees Celsius. If you live in colder climate weather, you could start indoors and transplant later after all danger of frost is past. And this happen. The catminal always returns to the scene of the crime. I guess. To save my marigold from dying, I simply repot the plant. Soil I use for growing Mexican marigold contain cocoa peat, red burn soil, micro, fine sand, old humus and charcoal. Mexican marigold tolerate in almost any soil conditions to grow on. As long you use moderately fertile well-drained soil to grow Mexican marigold, you will be fine. This is because Mexican marigold seem to grow better in a leaner soil. Mexican marigold grows best at a neutral pH of 7 or slightly acidic 6 pH. You can use whatever growing media available to your convenience. Also, if you can, please make sure that your growing media are sterilized and clean. Container size I use to grow Mexican marigold, height 20 cm, width 30 cm. You also can grow Mexican marigold in bigger container than mine. The bigger the container, the bigger root system will develop and will resulting bigger plant and flower. Mexican marigold can grow up to 1 to 1.2 meter in height. When growing Mexican marigold, please make sure your container have good drainage. Waterlogged container will promote root rot. For me, the advantage for growing in container is gives me more control over sunlight, moisture and temperature. For this growing season, on average my water usage are about 300 milliliters. Mexican marigold a drought-tolerant plant. Water usage depend on container size, container type, weather and climate you live in. When watering Mexican marigold, don't let soil become too soggy. Mexican marigolds cannot tolerate soggy soil. For me, it's easier to overwater than underwater. Your water usage may be different than mine, and depending on your conditions, you may have to water as often as twice a day. Mexican marigold water preference is moderate watering. Mexican marigold requires full sun to thrive. Mexican marigold need at least 6 to 8 hours of full sun per day. I grow my Mexican marigold at full sun location. From my experience, Mexican marigold can grow in partial shade location but will produce less and smaller flowers. My minimum temperature when growing Mexican marigold is 21 degrees Celsius. My maximum temperature when growing Mexican marigold is 33 degrees Celsius. I grow my Mexican marigold in tropical climate. Mexican marigold preferred to grow in tropical climate. Mexican marigold native in Mexico and Central America. Mexican marigold is annual plant. For growing Mexican marigold, I do not use any fertilizer. If you see your plant is struggling and want to use fertilizer, please do not overfeed the plant, as this will resulting in more leaves production but reduce the flower production. Please read the instructions carefully before starting using any fertilizers. If growing in the garden beds, marigold companion planting enhances the growth of basil, cabbage, cucumbers, eggplant, kale and tomatoes. Beans and cabbage are listed as bad companion plants for marigolds. My Mexican marigolds start to produce flower bud. To make Mexican marigold bushier, pinch off the tops once they have established themselves. By doing this, it will keep the plants from becoming leggy and will encourage more blooming. Also, in order to prolong flowering, you should deadheading Mexican marigold plant. Mexican marigold is propagated by seeds. My Mexican marigold will bloom soon. Mexican marigold is relatively free from diseases and pests. More flower buds start to develop. I don't encounter any diseases when try to grow Mexican marigold. This is what Mexican marigold full bloom look like. Mexican marigold attract bees and butterflies. Butterfly also use Mexican marigold as food plant. The genus Tagetes is named after Tages, the Etruscan god of the underworld and grandson of Jupiter. The specific epithet erecta means upright, erect, which refers to the growing habit of the plant. Please prune the spent flowers, as spent flower heads are heavy and can cause the stems to snap. Thank you for watching. Hasta la vista.